Hello everyone! Today on Binky's Gaming Thoughts, I continue the Canticle of Threnodies. The never-ending Canticle of Threnodies. It's the never-ending story. It's like, but since the Chant of Light is a chant, it's the song that never ends. But there is an end to Threnodies. Just not today. So the armies clash. On the eve of battle, the armies of Antoridas raised their voices in praise to their demon gods for their victory to come, while the armies of Demertes called out in supplication to the Maker. No darkness could hide the fears of Planocene. No star could outshine the sureness of Narromanian. So they're, the Planocene are afraid. The other ones are like, we're going to win. And Antoridas, King of Narromanian, is convinced of his victory. And once again, there's fear. As the sun rose, the armies girded themselves, and the dragon's children put flame to the fields of Planocene. But the sacred Nemois protected them, and they did not burn. So the fields didn't burn because they were drenched, obviously. As we discussed previously, the blessed waters did protect the crop. The army of Antoridas, 7,000 strong for the 7 gods. Maybe there were 7 dragons. Who knows? Raised their bows, and terrible thunder rang out, and the sky went black with arrows. Kind of makes me think of the Battle of Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers. With all the arrows going. And though they raised their shields, a rain of death fell upon the Planocene, whose blood anointed the fields. So obviously Antoridas was victorious. A mighty cry of rage went up from the army of Demertes to see their brothers and sisters struck down. And the army of Antoridas answered with the thunder of spears beating shields. The war cry. Again, like at the Battle of Helm's Deep, and all the Uruk-hai, and like their chant. And the soldiers of the demon charged, the demon Dumat, spears thirsting for the blood of the Maker's children, and the army of Demertes readied their shields. The righteous stood before the armies as a boulder stands before a tide, unshaken, rooted there by the Maker's hand. And the demon soldiers broke upon their shields as a wave breaks upon the shore. So the Maker's not really with them here. And as the sun set upon the fields of Planocene, the armies of Narromanian had taken no steps into the lands of the faithful, but the fields ran red. And great were the lamentations of the living for the countless dead of Demertes. So they were so concerned with protecting the crops, the Planocene, that they anointed the fields to protect them, but they failed to protect themselves. The fires didn't spread, but they died. And Antoridas' armies were so powerful that they didn't even need to step foot on the lands, and they conquered. They were victorious. So the lands were protected, but the people were not protected by the waters. Demertes forsakes the Maker. Talk to the hand, Maker's hand. In the deep hours of the night, King Demertes sought counsel from his sages, for he knew his army could not withstand another day against the dragon's children. And the wisest sages of Planocene consulted the stars and found nothing. In the silence, they found silence. So I think the Maker had already abandoned them here, so he can't blame anyone for abandoning him. In desperation, King Demertes turned to pagan soothsayers, saying, "Find me a demon with the strength to counter Narromanians. Oh la la! Find me someone to fight Dumat." and they reached into the darkest realms of dream and found one who promised Damertes to turn aside the spears of Antoridus if he would forsake the Maker and praise only her name, a female old god. So in the hours before dawn, King Damertes cursed the Maker's name, and he burnt offerings to the demon and praised her, that his lands might be spared. So basically Damertes just took the same path that Antoridus took, and basically doing the same deeds. And as the sun rose upon the fields of the Planocene, the armies of Antoridus fell to the ground, afflicted with boils and racked with pain. So a demon of illness, perhaps. It seems boils, because they've been burning things. Isn't there a magister, isn't there an old god that has to do with illness, sickness? Or is it an Evernurus or a forgotten one that has to do with sickness and illness? We need to check back our notes. All added in. And they cried out in fear and fled back to their own lands. And from that day forth, the Maker's name was spoken no more. No, in the lands of the sacred Nemois. So I wonder which old god she is. I'm going to look back in my notes and I'll add it in the video later. Threnodies 7. And as the black clouds came upon them, they looked on what pride had wrought and despaired. This probably describes the battle, and what pride had wrought is the mission in the Arbor Wilds in Dragon Age Inquisition when you go to the Temple of Mythal. I doubt she is Mythal, though. The work of man and woman by hubris of their making, the sorrow a blight unbearable. So, the coming of blights? Interesting. I'm going to end this here today, and I will conclude the Canticle of Threnodies in 2 videos, because the next video is another interlude, which I'm actually quite excited about. I have a little surprise for you guys. The video is an analysis / comparison of 2 characters. How many characters? 2. And one of them being Solus, obviously, because it has to do with Dragon Age. But the other one is not from Dragon Age. But they are both characters who could be redeemed, with whom I am obsessed with wanting to save and redeem. And so as for the other character, I'll give you a clue, but I won't tell you who. That rhymes. Because I like to tease like that. And, well, I'll give you 2 clues. The first clue is the character is not from a video game. And the second clue is a quote. And maybe the quote is a little bit vague, but any other quote would kind of give it away a little too much. And I do want it to be kind of like a surprise. So anyway, maybe you'll figure it out with the quote. So the quote is, "Show me the way." Yeah, that's the quote. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Maybe you guys will figure it out. Maybe it's more obvious than I think. Or maybe I'm being really cryptic. But anyway, it'll be obvious when the video comes out from the title and the thumbnails. And so I'm actually pretty excited about that. So like and share this video and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and stay tuned for more Masaranas. Be sure to check out some of my other stuff, and remember to buy video games at a discounted price and support me at no additional cost to you. Just follow my G2A affiliate link. To learn more how that can help you as well, you can watch my full explanation video on that. Thanks for tuning in.